All right. So
I'm being interviewed for once on my own podcast. How
you're
about
being
that?
interviewed. How about them apples?
About
All
them
right. So the
apples.
very first question, of course, how are you? How are you today?
How am I? I'll be honest with you. I'm nursing a bit of a hangover, but I feel good. I feel very good right now. Because I actually smoked weed for the first time in many, many years. And basically we were having like a welcoming for two new housemates that we have for like a month. And, we just wanted to greet them, have beers, chat, just say hello, right?
And then you ended up smoking some hookah.
Well, they had some stuff, and I was like, ooh. And normally I'd just be like, nah, but I was in a good mood, not too drunk.
Try something new.
Well, it's not new. I mean, I did drugs a lot back in the day, so it's more like
Get out of the 90s, Chris.
It's a bit. Oi, I was a kid. I was a kid in the 90s. How old do you think I am? Fucking hell, not that old. I barely remember the 90s. I remember like I can remember going to school in the 90s. I remember television, watching certain programs, like it's weird stuff I remember. Like I can remember coming home from school when I was like 6 or 7 years old, turning on the TV, and it would be like there's this crappy Australian program called Neighbours, right? And I don't know why it's popular. It's like a soap in Australia, but had a huge appeal in the UK for many years. And so that would be on. And basically, it would come on about 3-4 p.m. And I would normally just have it on in the background waiting for like the good programs that are coming up. Because the lineup on BBC Two in the 90s and the early 2000s was fucking lit. It'd be... No, seriously, it was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, always. And then I think it was like...
I've heard that's good.
It's excellent. It stands out, especially today, actually. The Simpsons, there'd always be a Simpsons episode. There was occasionally Robot Wars, if you remember that. That was good shit. You ever heard of Robot Wars?
Wait, is that the remote control robots that fight?
Yes. Yeah.
I know it.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And it was really good in the beginning because Jeremy Clarkson used to present it, and he was brilliant. he would, so picture this, right? He's walking around being him, taking the piss, right? But like you got so many of these people, like they would do this pre-match, I guess you could call it, like interview thing, where they would walk around the warehouse where everyone's like working on their bots and shit, and they're like, I guess hyping up before the fight, like, yeah, we've got this extra piercer that we're going to destroy Razor with, like, because they had names for the bots.
Yeah.
Razor versus Scorpion or some shit like that. But it was good. Like,
Sunflower versus sausage sandwich.
Sometimes it was like that. Some of them were really out there and like had weird, but it was fun. I don't know. It was a lot of fun, and he would.
Oh yeah, this is my robot biscuit tin. I call him that because he's made out of a biscuit tin. My grandma is not very happy with me, so I need to win this fight so I can give her a biscuit tin back.
But it was really good.
Although I'll have to tell her to watch her fingers when she's going to get a biscuit, because
It was really good with Jeremy Clarkson when he would interview these guys, and it would often be like some 50-year-old bloke with his son or something, which was kind of sweet. But like he would just rip them out. He'd be like, so is he going to win? And he'd be like, and then he just rip apart the guy, and sort of be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you playing at? Like, it was almost like he wanted to say like, why are you wasting your time on this shit? But he, you know what I mean? It was that kind of like, but he did it in an entertaining way, and he, it was fun. And
like the sort of classic Jeremy Clarkson, what are you doing? No,
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
No, don't be stupid, James.
Yeah, precisely, yeah. I remember also they had these house robots that were quite interesting. They were like...
oh yeah, the ones that would come out if the fight was going on for too long.
So, yeah, they were like supposed to be like, I don't know. Okay, so if I remember correctly, some of them would just be in certain corners. So if you got too close to a particular corner, they would just like destroy you. But then they also had this thing where I think if you like one of them was like if you went into a particular area, like one of them had like a flamethrower on the top, so it like push you in there and set your bot on fire. And There were other ones. I think it was to do with like traps or other things. I can't really remember exactly, but they would be pulled out for specific reasons, and it was cool because all the different robots had different
I'm
ways to
gonna
destroy
quickly
you.
look this up because this is actually really interesting. Okay, I wanna know. Oh yeah, Robot Wars House Robots.
I never thought I would be talking about robot wars on my podcast, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for inviting a 16-year-old.
I'm surprised.
Uh,
I'm surprised you saw it though. I suppose the program has got a lot of longevity because I mean it started late 90s, early 2000s, and I believe it's still going on in other countries. I don't think it's going on in the UK anymore. But
the House Robots were a set of robots on Robot Wars. Well, go figure. That acted as additional hazards for competitor robots in the arena. They would usually occupy one or more corner patrol zones and either attack competitors if they entered the CPZs or became immobilized, after which they were free to roam the arena. So if one competitor went into the corner and then the house robot killed it, he could then go back and go for the other one if he wants.
yeah.
Four house robots debuted in season 1: Dead Metal, Matilda, Sergeant Bash, and
Matilda. Yes, I remember Matilda. Matilda was the tiny one that looked really silly and like unassuming. And if you had a really big bot, you could actually take on. Like I sometimes saw the house bots would get destroyed by bigger bots, but rarely did that happen. Like it was only when you had like bots like Matilda would actually there would be some sort of a chance. Whereas there was what was that one? Sir Killalot? Is that one?
So, yeah, these with more joining them as the original series
Yeah.
progressed, these additions were Sir Killalot, Mr. Psycho, Growler, and Cassius Chrome.
I don't remember that, but I remember Sir Killalot because it was huge and it had like
He
some
was
sort
added
of
in season 2, Mr.
yeah.
Psycho season 6, Growler series 6, and Cassius Chrome was series 7.
Sir Killalot was the best one because it was huge and it had like a very. It was weird. Like most of these robots were really tiny.
I'm not sure if you
And
can see that at all.
yeah, I can see it. It's good, but it's like it has like a whole body and like it's huge. Whereas a lot of the bots were really tiny.
He's got like tank wheels and like a knight armor sort of base and a spire and loads of armor all over him.
But like your typical bot would generally be small, like a square shape or a circle, like very small. Like and like bots like Sir Killalot could literally just ride over them, like they were so small. But there were a
the tank
few.
tracks, man.
There were a few that were like really. I remember there was this one bot that for many years was like the champion. I think it was called Razor, and it was literally just a small kind of box with like a big, massive metal piercing tool, and it would basically clamp you, and then like force the yeah, there you go, you can see it. Yeah, it would clamp you and put the pincer into your body's
When I was searching this
robot
up,
chassis.
one of the recommendations was Razor versus Sir Killalot. So I take it you went against Sir Killalot.
Wow, I got to see
That's
that, man.
that's gotta take some balls to go up against one of the house robots that literally looks like a tank.
Well, like I said, sometimes they would do that. Sometimes, like you would have people do it for a laugh and see what happens, and sometimes they would beat the house bots. It was quite funny.
I think if Sir Killalot was to get destroyed, I think what would you even do from that point?
You'd have to have a pretty powerful bot to make that happen. That's yeah.
Would the game just stop with did you just kill Sir Killalot? I mean, yeah. Yeah, it was easy. Killed him.
But yeah, no, Robot was good. There was also what else was there? There was a bunch of Star Trek. That was how I got into Star Trek. Star Trek: The Next Generation. They would do replays of that. Obviously, I became a much bigger fan as I got older, but it was fun to watch as a kid as well because it was just kind of weird and out there. But I swear that BBC Two lineup for many years. I mean, you had at least 4 hours of good programming there every week.
I think it's switched. I think it's switched to Nickelodeon because I think I remember that's what I watched Robot Wars on.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, that's weird.
But I mean, it's like if there's a good day of television, because the problem is with now is most people just watch Netflix or YouTube because there's
Yeah.
never anything good on TV.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's true now. I mean, occasionally there's Top Gear, and on Comedy Central there's South Park, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, things like that. But other than that, I mean, they don't even play it in the same order. So if you're on season 2, they might be showing an episode from season 3 or something, and you're like, well, no.
Well, no, I mean, that's a bit unfair because normally they just start, like, okay, let's say like Friends, for instance. If they're doing a Friends rerun, they'll always start from the beginning. But the problem with that is that they will replay the same episode like 5 times a day before they get to the next one. But they normally go through it.
That's
like,
just to make sure you don't miss it.
yeah.
Like,
But
if you're at work through the
isn't
day
it?
and then come home, I mean, you can watch it on Netflix. Just
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
messing about.
I think
might-
there is this weird kind of thing with TV, though, that I've never been able to explain. It's like a movie almost feels like more special and more fun if it's on TV versus if you've just chosen it. Do you know what I mean? For some reason,
because it doesn't take into account, like, if I want to watch a James Bond movie,
yeah,
because I remember one, I don't think it was Christmas, but I think I remember one summer they played the James Bond movies every Friday. Every Friday night from 10 till whatever time the movie finished. And they just went through, and watching them on TV with the ads was better than if I put it on Netflix, because, okay, there's a break, I'm going to go to the toilet, get a drink, get some peanut M&Ms, and I'll be back, and then I'll sit back down. And then the closing part of the advert would come on, and the movie would start, and go, oh, great.
yeah. Why is that? Why is that interesting? Or sorry, not interesting. Why is that more preferable? Because when you really think about it, it's not. It's much more convenient to pause it, and you still can. You can pause TV and shit, but
yeah, but not having that like exact pausing ability. I mean, because I don't like pausing live television, because then it's not live television anymore. Because
okay, fair.
I don't like pausing actual TV. It's weird.
I like it. I like it on
programming.
I don't like it on live, like a live sports event or something. I think that defeats the point. But it's useful. I mean, if you genuinely needed to and you didn't want to miss anything, then you've got that option now. Whereas you just
we set the MotoGP to record if we have to go out. So like if we'll watch up to a certain point, and then if I have to go out, we'll set to record from when we stopped watching it.
Yeah.
Or we'll just record the entire race. But yeah. Anyway, do you mind if I scoot into the second? We're in the second category.
See, I like it because I don't have to do the research for once.
I didn't either.
Oh, you did 25 minutes. That's. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we'd just have a couple of questions and that would be it. I wasn't expecting a whole segment.
No. I did my homework. Okay, so this is the backstory section.
Oh, I'm worried. Okay.
No. Not too deep.
Okay.
Phil Collins would be impressed. It's not in too deep. So, in terms of city, where are you from?
London.
So you are from London and you live in Manchester.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it like growing up there?
What was it like growing up in London? When I was a teenager, it was some of the best times of my life. I've said this many times before, but yeah, I loved growing up in London because, I didn't live exactly in London. I lived in a suburb in West London, or Northwest London, I should say, an area called Hillingdon. Very beloved to me even to this day. Like there are certain areas, shout out to Ruislip, Northwood Hills, those areas like near where my school were and stuff. There's really beautiful nature around there. I just loved it. Anyway, I would often go to London, places like Camden, Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square, Camden Lock, a bunch of places. And this was at a time in the 2000s, like mid 2000s or whatever, where there was a big divide kind of between people that were into like mainstream stuff and then people that were into like rock and metal. Because these days everyone's kind of into everything. So I mean, you do get people that are like, I'm a goth or I'm this, I'm that. But like most people just don't care. Whereas back then there was more of a divide. Like if you went to Camden Town back then, it was like there wasn't any mainstream stuff there, or very little. It was very, you know, you'd have like loads of market stalls with goth jeans or like grunge stuff, or I don't know. It was just a different time, different vibe, and I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I was into like, you know, skateboarding, so I'd often go skateboarding around various places in London. Like there's this place called Bay 66, which is like a skate park underneath a bridge in Ladbroke Grove, and it's one of the best skate parks I've ever been to. It's like all wooden, like really nice. It's got a massive vert ramp at the back, which is a lot of fun to go into. It's like a professional one as well, and yeah, you know, I was a happy kind of go lucky teenager. You know, I was into music. I wrote music all the time, you know, with my bands that I was in and stuff. And I made the most of my teenage years. So growing up in London was kind of an ideal place for that, because it has a bit of everything. And I know I shit on London because, like, you know, I'm not a fan of living there, but that's because as I became an adult, it changed. So obviously when you're a teenager, you don't have responsibilities, you know.
London is expensive.
Yeah, and this is the thing, it got more and more and more expensive. So like even when I was a teen, it was okay. It wasn't like super cheap, but it was like reasonable. Whereas these days, I mean, it's astronomical. And when we're talking about things like house prices or even just renting there, you know, travel is a big one. These things just put me off. And I worked there as an adult for many years, and I was just put off by it. There was nothing there that really allured me to it. There are beautiful parts of London and interesting architecture, and there's lots to do. But I feel like, and I have a lot of people that agree with me on this, that London is a great place to visit, but it's not a great place to live necessarily.
Yeah.
And like if you want to have a good quality of life there, you need to be earning like a really highly paid salary to cover the costs of everything. Like you can have a good life in London, but you need to like work your ass off to get it, if you know what I mean. And that's the tricky part. Like for me, it's not that I don't want to work hard, because I work hard with everything that I do, but I don't want to, like, you know, pay my full salary and have nothing left and not be able to eat or whatever, or do you know what I mean? Like have very little every month, and because I want to have fun. I want to go out and do things, explore, have holidays, whatever. Like I want to live life, have fun. You know what I mean? I don't want to just, what's the expression? Work to live. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
And I don't think that work necessarily has to be like that either. You know, it does depend on the position, career that you go for, or whatever, you know.
Excuse me.
But, how dare you?
Oh, I am sorry.
Yawn when I'm speaking. It's me. No, I'm just kidding.
No hablo inglés.
No hablo.
Right,
I mean, London was cool to grow up in, but I think it has its. I think it suffers from big city syndrome, if that makes sense, because everyone that I speak to that talks about like living in Moscow or living in say New York, when they talk about it, it sounds exactly the same to my experiences in London. And I think that's just the nature of living in a big city. For some people, it's the greatest thing ever. And I get it. Like if you grew up in a small town somewhere and, you know, there wasn't much going on, it can be very frustrating. So I understand why it's like really fun to live in a big city. For me, I like to have
The thing is the people who live in the center of like a place like Manhattan, most of those people are like either judges, lawyers, or high-ranking government people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a lawyer can go from one place in Manhattan where they work to their home, like 3, 4, 5 blocks away, go up into their massive friggin' 50th floor penthouse and just be chill, because they know that however much they make, their living space is only like, what, the 24th of what they earn?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, generally when it comes to where you want to live at a particular time, I think it depends where you are at that point in life. You know, like I grew up in London anyone that grows up anywhere, you know, you kind of get sick of the place that you were born in because you want to see something different. Do you know what I mean? So that's a big thing. And I always had this travel bug. I wanted to explore, see other cultures, all that stuff. And then, you know, I lived in places like Estonia, where it was very small by comparison. Like I was able to see like the whole country within a couple of years. And Tallinn, the city, the main city, the capital, is very small. So it, not to say that it gets boring, but it's like there's a lot less going on, right?
I agree, because where I live in Vals, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the people. I love the architecture. I love literally everything about it. There's a big supermarket in the middle. There's smaller shops sort of around the outside, and along the main road, hundreds of shops. I mean, not hundreds, but you know what I mean. It's a big main street. There's market days on Tuesday where all of the Germans, everybody from the towns close on the Dutch side, come into Vals to do their shopping. Yep. Fine, brilliant, lovely, wonderful. But I mean, there's barely any police here. The closest police station is halfway down the friggin' road. There's nothing. I mean, Vals is home to the Drielandenpunt, which is the highest point in Vals.
Oh.
So it's a very touristy place, which means you get a lot of Belgians, you get a lot of Germans, and obviously you've got a lot of Dutch people. But I want to travel as well.
Yeah.
But it's not hard to do that because the Netherlands is a pretty small place.
My advice to you, because this is what I've done, is to just experience as many different places and live in them as possible. Because like I've lived on like farms, for instance. I've lived in the back ass fucking nowhere, where nothing's going on. I've lived in places where like shit's going on all the time, you know, good places, bad places, everywhere. And what I would say is doing that helps you to understand what you need and when you need it, kind of thing. Like, so here's a quick example, right? When I was 18, I went on a holiday with an ex-girlfriend. Oh, I think I was 19, actually. Whatever. It was like a holiday getaway kind of thing. It was really sweet. And we went to a place called Devon, right? And if you haven't been to Devon, it's fantastic, great
Custard.
sort of custard, of course, yeah. No, but they have really good quality things that are made freshly there, like things like ice cream and stuff. And it's by the sea. It's got all this amazing like history and culture and stuff. But if you're a young person, it's not good. It's you know, it's for old people, for people retiring, for people that want a getaway from city life or something. And I genuinely remember thinking, this is brilliant, but it's like wrong time. If I came back here when I was like 50 or 60, perfect. Right now, no, I want to do shit with my life. I want to go places, see the world. And I kind of remember thinking like, it's cool that I can think that way at that age, like appreciate it for what it is, but know that it's just something to return to, as opposed to like being like, oh, this sucks, you know, because I think everyone in life, you go through waves. You're like, okay, I want to live in a big city for a while. Okay, now I want to travel for a while. Okay, now I want to focus on my career. So, you know, I'm going to live in the city and do this or whatever. Like for me, I'm in a position where I just wanted to go back to the UK. I missed the UK, but I didn't want to go to London for the reasons I explained before. And I also kind of thought about the fact that like, I want to live somewhere where stuff is going on, but I have access to like travel around and see culture and like rural stuff as well, countryside, stuff like that. I just kind of want to have a bit of both, you know, and I don't want it to be like too insane. Like Manchester is kind of ideal in that sense because it's a big city. It rivals London in many ways, but it's not like, it doesn't have the capacity that London has. And that's kind of a big draw for me. It's like, I want to be somewhere where stuff is going on, but I can also escape from things as well.
But
and I think
there's a lot of industries in Manchester as well, because
right, yeah.
there's the Salford Quays, which is actually now I think there's a BBC centre there. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
BBC, ITV, all that stuff is based there. They filmed Coronation Street there as well.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's Manchester, where there's all of these offices and shops and
Yep.
things like that.
Yep.
But there's a lot of history behind Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that the Salford Quays used to be where a lot of stuff came in from other countries. And that's the one thing I did listen to in geography, because Manchester is very interesting.
Manchester
but
is
where
a
I
good
live,
place, actually.
I could probably shake hands with the UK in the sense that I've been to enough places
Mm.
sort of have, say, I've had my fill of England and Scotland and things like that. I've been to Edinburgh, I've been to York, I've been to Scarborough, I've been to Rye. I've been to places that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. It begins with an A, and it's like it's up a lot of like hills, so it's very high in the air. It's very high up above sea level, and it's like just a small town. It's just got like a hotel in it, and there's actually, I don't even think there's many shops. And then that's just sort of it, and then it just goes back down the hill to more hills. But yeah, I mean, where I live is very rural. Looking out my window, I can see a crap ton of trees, and I can see sheep and cows and a long country road and a farm and more stuff. And if I look out over that way, there's the sort of town, city, things like that. And then
Cool.
Going that way would lead you towards into the Netherlands more, into Le Meers and Maastricht. Over that way leads you into Germany. That's about it. There's no cities really close by here. Closest would probably be Maastricht or Heerlen or Landgraaf, which is like 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, I think it's everything has a time limit in terms of like how long a person should be in a place, but everyone is different. You know, I've met some people in life who are so perfectly content just staying in, like, you know, their hometown, for instance. And I don't understand it personally, but I can appreciate it. You know what I mean? I think that you love what you love, and if you are happy, then just roll with it, innit? But like, I think it is good.
Roll with it, innit?
Well, yeah, but like, I think it is important to experience other things, because if nothing else, even if you don't discover that, you know, there's something out there that's different for you, that's better by comparison, it at least makes you appreciate like what you do have back home, kind of thing. You know, like when I lived abroad, there was a lot that I missed about the UK. And so when I did return, it was a good feeling. Do you know what I mean? After all that time to kind of to have that stuff again. And I count myself very grateful that I've had that experience in another country, and, you know, that can never be taken away. And it's a really cool feeling.
But one thing, I will never work in Vals. Never.
Why? What's wrong?
I will never work in my hometown because it's so small that there's nothing really here to work. I mean, for example, I want to be an engineer or something to do with auto mechanics, so I'm going to try and find a job in Maastricht or Heerlen, where it's 20-30 minutes away. So I actually travel to work rather than just getting in the car, driving 5 minutes down into town, and then just parking the car and going to work, and then driving all the way back up the hill again. And then... You
come onto a good point, actually. I do think it's important that a person's work is, because this is one of the things I want to do with my life as well. I want to travel, like I want to be based in the UK and have a home. That's kind of my dream, is to have like a home, a base, somewhere that I can be like, this is home, kind of thing. But then I spend all my time exploring the world, you know, I don't know, acting, music, whatever, wherever life takes me, kind of thing. And I want that contrast. I think it's very important because that makes you appreciate home more. Like if you do everything in your hometown, you can get sick of it. And like home shouldn't be that. Home should be like a sanctuary, something that you return to.
I'm happy that, I mean, I feel sorry for the people in my school who live in Maastricht as well as go to school there. But for me, when I get into Maastricht, I'm like, right, school. But when I get on the bus and I come back here into Vals, I'm like, gemeente Vals, Drielandenpunt gemeente, I'm home.
Yeah, okay.
I just sort of went into Dunglish there. I just
Dunglish.
Dunglish, yeah.
That's the thing, Dunglish.
Yeah, it is. But I get into the bus station outside of it's called the Fritti boot. Just
The what? Sorry.
the Fritti boot. Because
Frites.
over here, fries or chips are frites.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called the Fritti boot, the fries shop.
Frites.
So I get off the bus across the road. I get my bicycle and I sort of just ride. Well, it depends on if I want to get home fast or not. If I want to go home fast, I'll just go straight up.
Mm.
But I like to ride through the town a little bit and then turn right and then go up this nice sort of stony street and then go
It's weird, isn't
around.
it? It's kind of weird how everyone is different in that way. Because when I was your age, I was the same, and I always have been. I love to explore, love rural stuff. I think it's really important, right? But I remember when I was at school, basically to get to school, I could walk to school, and I often did, right? But in the beginning, I would take the bus, right? And the bus took about half an hour, give or take. Pretty chilled. Do you know what I mean? But the actual walk from where I lived all the way up to the school was probably about an hour, maybe a bit more. And it was crazy. It involved literally walking from one town to another, then walking all the way up a hill, and then going down the hill, and then basically walking into a forest, which is kind of crazy because sometimes it would be like at winter. It'd be like really dark. You can't see anything, right? Walk through the forest.
Why?
Yeah, well, I was an idiot teenager and it was fun.
I would
And
get tired.
oh, it was great. It was good for exercise and I liked it. It was so much better than having to wait around for the bus in the freezing cold or like.
But what about those times where you were at school and you could not be asked to go home? What did you do in that situation?
I never had that. Are you kidding me? You can't be asked to go home.
Because sometimes I'm standing outside of school when I leave and I'm like, I can't be asked to go home, but I can't be
I
asked
mean,
to stay here either.
I had experience. I had times when I wanted to like hang out and maybe like I knew I had like loads of work to do or something reason that I couldn't go. But like most days, I would either hang out with friends after school or I would go skateboarding. I would go skateboarding pretty much every single day after school plus weekends.
Did you not skateboard to and from school or no?
Occasionally, we weren't really allowed to, but I would just do it anyway and get in trouble for it quite often.
The thing
Yeah.
is though, the thing is though, that's not English. Uh, the problem, you can't take your bike on a bus over here because of Corona.
Mm.
I think normally, I wish buses over. That's why I love American buses because
Yeah.
you walk up to a bus, you put your bike on the front of the rack, you strap it in, you get on the bus, you pay for your ticket, you go, get off, take your bike, go. But what I'm thinking of doing, depending on how long I go to school, because obviously there's the school I have to go to after this one, which is actual college.
Mm.
I'm gonna save up and get a scooter license and scoot to school.
Yeah. Sounds sensible.
Because I mean, the bus is cool and all, but if I can take myself to school,
I remember when I was at school, there was this like gang, right, that would hang out.
the
Right,
London moped
there
gangs.
was legitimately, it was a moped gang. It was a bunch of like guys that were either 16, 17, like out of school age, but weren't doing anything with their lives, right? They were, literally their life consisted of just driving around on a moped, hanging around outside the school. They don't go to the school and they're too old for school, but they're like the cool, I don't know, edgy kids or some shit. But they would literally just sit there trying to look hard. And I was like, I'm sorry, you can't look hard on a moped.
I mean, if you rocked up on a Harley Davidson,
Yeah.
and then you just stop and you're just like, so.
Yeah, I can see that, but you can't. No. This does not strike fear. You don't go. What's up, man? No, that's not happening. No one's making. The only time a moped is cool is like classic, quadrophenia. Back in the day, like that was when mopeds were cool.
Vespers.
Yeah, Vespers. Sorry, yeah, that's because there's a variant of a moped. Is that right? Or
Yeah, it was a make, but it was
Right.
like like a classic red Vespa.
Yeah, like those are cool, and they were cool. But like modern mopeds, I'm sorry, like just in general, they just look ugly. I don't understand the appeal. I mean, I get that they're.
Scooters are handy, and there's a lot of
Mm,
bicycles in the Netherlands. So if there's a lot of there's a lot of scooters as well, because scooters that are limited to 50 kilometers an hour,
mm,
which is scooters that 16-year-olds can get.
yeah.
They have to ride on bike paths.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And they have to ride on the side of the road, because on the roads here there's obviously the 2 lanes, and then there's a little red section of on each side of the road for bicycles. It's called a fietspad, like a bike path.
That's not
um
confusing at all. The fits path.
the fietspad.
Yeah.
A bicycle is a
Fietspad.
fiets, a bicycle is a
Ah,
fiets,
okay.
and a motorbike is a motorfiets.
Motorfiets.
So fiets is bike, and then motorbike. So yeah, and then if it can go over 50 miles an hour, like if it's a scooter with gears, then it can go on the road. But people normally don't. They just stick to the bike paths, because they can go on the bike paths, but they're supposed to be on the road, but on the side of the road. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, I'd love to scoot to school. I think it would be cool, because I can just listen to my music. Just
Love to scoot to school, mate. Scoot,
I'd love
scoot,
to
scoot.
scoot to school, mate. I go to Mall Street.
Oh, Betty. Sorry, that's what I thought. Betty.
Betty the Vespa. No.
But
I can't
for anyone
call.
that is out of the UK, they'll have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. I can't even remember the name of that program, but I remember Frank Spencer, I think his name was, wasn't it? Betty.
Something like that. Betty. Yeah, but I can't call my scooter Betty, because I've already named my car Bessie. So,
You named your car Bessie.
yeah, it's an old Toyota Corolla. It's called Bessie.
What has the Netherlands done to you?
I don't know. No, but no. It's an old 1998 car. It needs a classic name. It's green. Bessie.
I don't know, I just can't ever, people normally name their car something cool, like Jaguar, Mercedes,
Bessie.
Bessie. It doesn't have the same Bessie, the new ultra-reliant Ford car of the year. Bessie. No.
Meet the Toyota Corolla, otherwise known as Bessie, coming this month in cinemas near you. Coming this October.
This fall. This is my favorite one. From the makers of. Like that, just when he says that.
From the makers of the Avengers and others.
Other films.
J.D. Salinger presents Catcher on the Rye and other books.
Stuff. Presenting stuff. Well, like, imagine if it was like honest. So like they're talking about Twilight.
Directed by someone.
Imagine if it was just the guy saying his opinions. So like he sees that it's Twilight and he's like, presenting badly written fan fiction. Twilight.
Imagine him with a Top Gear movie though. Coming from the creators of Top Gear, obviously. Coming, Top Gear, the movie. Featuring Jeremy Annoying Clarkson, Hammond, the short person, and James May, the old bloke who people keep around because he's sarcastically funny.
You kind of sound a bit like you're doing a Batman impression, like, I'm
Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Robin, what are you doing, Robin?
It's so fun to do.
You killed my parents.
You killed my family. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. You killed my family.
This would be a clip.
Morty.
Just. I'm Batman for like a minute. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I do apologize to anyone listening on like Spotify or Apple or whatever. You just hearing us just go Batman for 2 minutes. Batman.
Normally I'm good with character impressions.
They're fun, aren't they?
I'm good with accents. I know that much. I'm really good with accents.
I've been experimenting a lot with them recently. I quite enjoy them. I like
someone asked me yesterday to do an Indian impression. I said no because I'll end up being racist or something. Ireland, I can do. England and Scotland, I can do.
Potatoes. Buy them, man. Stick them in a shoe.
I'm a potato farmer.
Potato farmer.
Potato farmer. My dad's a
I
potato
hear
farmer.
you're a racist now, father. That's my.
That one's the loud one.
Sorry. What's the church's opinion on racism then?
Oh, I didn't know about this. Racism thing you're talking about. Jesus Christ!
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about. No idea.
I'm Scotland. Scottish man. That's right.
I'm
too fucking right, lad.
Pretty much. And when people talk like as Germans, they talk like this every single time.
Mm.
And in the Netherlands, people talk like this. You know, we go to do this and we go to do that. I don't ask you questions. I just say we go to the park. What?
I don't know. I love this Ronnie Flex Lil Klein thing. Even though it's like 5 years old, I just love their music. It's really good.
Is that song that you asked me to do? And I still
yeah. They've got some other good ones. They did a song called 1 2 3 as well, which is like the same song kind of, but like a different variant. It's cool. It's yeah.
Do you remember anything about the song that you practiced, or did you forget it all?
I can barely remember it. No.
I think you sent me a video on Twitter.
I sent you a clip. Yeah.
I've got it here if you want to be embarrassed.
Go on then.
Oh, okay. We're actually gonna do this. I don't know how we're gonna do this because it's gonna sound awful.
I just want to see it. I want to see if I can do it again. Let me see if I can hear it.
I gotta
like Inception.
I learned a little bit of that song that I wanted you to learn, but it gets way harder. This is just jokes. As a beach floating, it repa brain hake, ni comitalen vanti get drunk, intrus, get drunk, intrus.
As a beach floating, it repa brain
ni comitalen vanti get drunk, intrus, get drunk,
intrus. Yeah, I remember it. As a bitch
drunken drugs.
As a bitch feel chilling.
That just means as a bitch will chill.
As a bitch feel chilling, it repa problem dan hake, ni comitalen dan he get drunk, intrus.
Wait, say that slower. I'm gonna try and translate that.
As a bitch feel chilling, it problem dan hanken henit comitalen dan he get drunk and drugs. He get drunk and drugs. Something like that.
Is it if a bitch wants to chill, that's no problem. Something like about not coming alone, and then having alcohol and drugs.
Standard.
So basically, every rapper ever.
Every rap song ever, yeah.
I've got weed, cocaine, yes, drugs, yes.
I should change that. Every rap song, sort of circa 2000s onwards. Because before it was I like rap music, I like it, but it's you have to really dig deep to find like meaningful rap these days. So a lot of it is just people rapping about.
I don't know why, but I've been listening to Roddy Ricch, The Box a lot.
I got no idea who you're talking about.
Pulling at the group with the lot, telling fuck 12, fuck swat, busting at the bells at the box.
I mean, it's like you're speaking Japanese to me. No idea. No idea.
Japanese.
I think I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. I think I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
What just happened?
You know that? You don't know that song? I'm
loving
it.
Thank you, Kokoro.
I like that we're in the same mood today. This makes this even more fun. Both in that kind of like light, playful mood. So it's like it works nicely.
I'm just
okay.
doing the test. I'm doing the test on the sofa.
So what more do you have for me in the questions?
Funnily enough, that was only that's only 3 of about what 10, 12.
Oh damn! Okay, let's keep going.
We've been doing this for like 2 hours now.
No, we have not. Really?
Yeah, it's 20 to 3 over here.
Damn. Well, let's keep going. Let's see what you've got. I want to see.
Okay, what made you want to become a content creator, and why and when did you make your first YouTube video?
Ooh. All right, I'll start with the second question. First YouTube video actually was like 2007, 2008. It's like really back in the day. Because when I started doing YouTube properly was like 2013. But before then, you know, everyone had a YouTube account and would just like mess around with it because like you couldn't earn money back then. It was just a weird novelty thing, right? And I would post like skating videos on there and of me at the local park that I went to and stuff. And I just didn't really think anything of it. The only thing I was gutted about is that I never got those clips. I would have liked to have kept those clips because there's loads and loads of videos of me skating.
Yeah, you could have made it like a montage.
Yeah, exactly. I have photos of me skating, so that's something. But yeah, I would have liked to have had that. But yeah, anyway, fast forward to 2013. I saw the situation with what was going online. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll try that. So I started an account. This was December 2013. And I started doing a mixture of music. And those videos are still there. I stand by the music was still good. Like, you know, it might not have been the best ever, but I still am proud of it. But I had videos on there that were not music, that were like, I suppose listicles or like trying to kind of copy what was everyone else was doing. And it was really cringe. Like, I think I had one like something to do with like bad hairstyles or some shit, and it was so cringe. Like I basically faked my presentation style. I tried to be like what every YouTuber was doing and still does in some cases. And it was cringe, and I knew it was, and I deleted it, and I kept the music videos, but I didn't really pursue it because back then I didn't have confidence in myself, in my abilities, and I just felt like I had no good ideas. And I thought, like, well, if I ever do YouTube, I want to come back to it when I have some good quality ideas. And so I kind of, you know, I would upload a video here and there, but I just didn't really ever take it seriously. And then when I got to university, I started to like get sort of experimental with music more, because I have like these shifts with music. It's always been like I'll be in a band for a couple of years, I'll do some solo stuff, then I won't do anything for a while, then I'll come back to it. You know, that's what it's like for me in music. I've always been doing stuff in my life, but music has always been there. And so when I was at uni, I had a point where, you know, I was in a couple of bands, I was experimenting, playing a lot. So I recorded a bunch of videos, and I thought, like, oh, maybe this would be my chance to, like, you know, make a YouTube, like make it proper. And again, same thing happened, but it was different this time because I actually genuinely had no time. The further I got into my degree, the less time I had, and I was just working an insane amount, both in my job and the degree itself. So I just didn't have time for music. And then when I graduated and moved to Estonia, same thing. I just had a lot going on in my life. And when it came to 2019, I suddenly had a lot more time. I started doing acting. This was the beginning of 2019. And I uploaded those videos on there thinking like, oh, and they got a couple of views. They did well. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to do YouTube properly now. I'm going to start vlogging. I'm going to start trying different things. So I just started testing the waters and seeing what was what. And I just discovered that I really enjoyed creating content, and I kind of always get a buzz every time particularly now, if I have like an idea for a video or a topic for the podcast or whatever, like I get really excited, I film it, and then I prepare it and I just love that feeling. Do you know what I mean? It's exciting for me.
I mean, I think that I did a prank video on my dad, and I think that recently surpassed 100 views.
Oh, congrats.
So I kind of want to make another one, but I don't know what to do, like at all. Because I mean, I ignored my dad for basically the entire ride back from the doctors to home.
Yeah.
But nothing really.
I would say don't ever force it. Like, if you don't have any ready ideas, like nothing's coming to you naturally, then I think it's worth kind of just looking at the community, seeing what's popular, and not necessarily copying, just thinking like, is this something that would work for my channel? If I would replicate this, give credit, obviously. Yeah, like give credit to whoever you're taking the idea from, but like ultimately give it a go. Like, for example, I did a video, do you know, there was a British YouTuber called Charlie Is So Cool Like many years ago. And he recently, in the last couple of years, he decided to move away from YouTube and focus on his film career. And he did a really good videos back in the day, like vlog videos. And some of them were just like really cool ideas. Like he did one years ago, like 26 things I've learned at the age of 26. So I did the same video, but 27 things I've learned at 27. And I gave homage to him. I said, hey, yeah, thank you for this idea. But then it turned into my own thing, because his was a short video of like 6 or 7 minutes, fun little quips. Mine was like an hour-long thing where I'm talking in depth about all these things I've learned. So it kind of, that was my take on that. It was different. It was my style, because I talk at length, and that's how I kind of do my stuff. And there's a lot of people that say, I don't like watching longer videos, but there's an audience of people that like it. So I always just create what I like, and if I'm happy with it, I'll put it out there. And I always recommend that to anyone who's like struggling for ideas. It's like, well, don't worry, like just try and replicate other things, and like eventually ideas are going to come anyway. Like that's just the nature of it. Like I'll have weeks where I have no ideas and I don't do anything. And then I'll have a week like this week where I have loads and loads of ideas and I'm struggling to write them down. I'm like, shit, I have to do all of this. I have to find time to get through all of these ideas. But yeah. I think it's like everyone's creative process works differently. But I think the worst thing you can ever do is like panic and go, oh shit, I haven't come up with anything. I need to just put some stuff out. Because that's when like shit stuff is created. Because it's like, you're just panicking. You're not focusing on the content and the quality. You're focusing on like, I need to get something out there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's good as well. Like if you're pushed to produce something as well, sometimes you can discover something that's left field that you never thought you would do. And then, that's something different, like for me, for example, I kind of discovered that with urbexing. I never thought I would do urbex. I always thought abandoned buildings were cool, but the concept of exploring them and then filming that experience was new to me. And then I saw YouTubers doing it and I was like, oh, cool. Maybe I'll do that if I ever get the opportunity. And then the opportunity came when I was in Estonia. And I wasn't actually actively looking to do that. I just happened to know a guy who does it. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'll film this and put it on my YouTube then. So sometimes these things, like, they don't happen necessarily because you've like planned them out. They just happen because of circumstances in life. And obviously, like, you can appreciate this being a content creator. Like, when you're looking at your own life, you're always thinking like, well, what's interesting? What would my audience want to know about? And sometimes you've just got to take a risk, put something out there, see what people think. Other times you kind of just know what to put out. You just have a feeling. So I don't know, like for me, it's taken some time. I think when I first started YouTube, it's like everyone else. I kind of sat there thinking like, this is all trash. This is cringe. This is terrible. Whereas now, like, I have zero fear in front of the camera. I'll sit and talk forever and I'll know what I'm going to say. I'll know if I'm talking too long and going on a tangent. I know when to bring it back. that's something I had to learn recently, actually, as well. Is, you know, if I'm going off topic, and it's particularly important if I'm doing an interview or something like this, you know, you have to bring it back to the point, and you can't go too far off base, because that leads to the thing where you forget things, or like you leave things unanswered or whatever. So I try to.
Maybe we need to make this a part 2, because I have a lot of questions, and obviously when we get talking, for example, it's basically been 2 hours right now.
Damn.
I think maybe even a bit longer, and we're not even past the first goddamn section. So
I think that's my fault.
oh no, that was the end of the last section. So maybe we need to do this again with the other 2 sections, 3 sections, because I feel like we could turn like our podcasts, like where we're together, into a small mini series. Like part 1 of the questions, part 2 of the questions, part 3 of the questions.
I'll say this. I was thinking about this before we headed into this podcast. Like, because I was looking at hashtags, right? I love hashtags when it's like, ask this, ask that. And I thought it would be cool to start up a thing where it's like, ask Christian. And like, that could be, as you said, like it's still part of the podcast series, but it's an episode, Ask Christian with Christian.
A Dutch Stills special.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, that's kind of the idea I have as the working title for this episode, because obviously it's not a standard one where I'm interviewing you and we're not going. We have discussed like we normally do, but it's been a lot about me, obviously, and we knew that going in. It wasn't like it just turns into this. But as a concept, I think if people like it, if we put it out and people like it, we'll do more. If people aren't interested, we won't do more. It's simple as that.
So just to put this into perspective, this is all the questions. All right, this is a full 8 ball. We're up to here.
Damn.
We're up to there.
That just makes me feel so bad. I feel like I talk too much.
No. It's just us. We click. So if you want to see more of this, or if you want to see me ask more of the questions, just drop a like and let us know that you want to see it. Because
let's start a hashtag with it, because I think that's important. So what should we call the hashtag?
#askchristian.
Okay, cool. So that'll be what we post after this, when this is released, and for all future episodes where we do an Ask Christian, it'll be me and Dutch, and we'll have the questions, and hopefully we'll actually get stuff sent in, and you can ask me the questions still.
I think I am.